It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. Let's get out of here. Aye.
Hey everybody, I thought I'd bring you up to the stars here and talk about the potential rapture of the church, and sometimes a picture of it all is very helpful. So what we have here is May 24th, 2026, and I think what we're seeing here is the book of Revelation playing out pretty perfectly. Revelation chapter 1. Okay, so just a little highlight. We're going to look at the sun here. We're going to look at Pleiades. We're going to look at Uranus and Mercury. And in the Taurus, remember I told you about Taurus and the Taurus mountains and the seven churches which are in Asia Minor, and that's Pleiades, and that I think represents the church there. So Pleiades, and then we have also the island of Patmos. And so what I'm going to say to you, I'm going to suggest this. I'm going to suggest that Mercury could potentially represent John on the island of Patmos. That's because Patmos was right beside, or is right beside Asia Minor. So geographically, it's really neat because there's the Taurus Mountains, there's the island of Patmos, and then there's the seven churches. It all kind of lines up in the same area. So it's possible that the geography is lining up with what we're seeing in the stars as well. So this is May 24th. This is Pentecost, 2026. Really cool. And if you look at this, you can see here, just go down to the 23rd. And if you zoom in, you can see it's not quite in line with Taurus and the seven stars. So that's May 23rd. That would be a Saturday. And then if you go to May 25th, which would be a Monday, it's past. So May 24th, Pentecost, Feast of Weeks, happens to line up perfectly with Taurus and the seven stars and Uranus. Well, the Greek word for heaven is very similar to, well, Uranus, but it's Uranus. And that's G3772 Uranus. And so the only time, well, the first time I should say, that we see the word Uranus in Revelation is none other than in the Church of Philadelphia in Revelation 3, verse 12. Let me read that from the Church of Philadelphia. He who overcomes, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go out no more. And I will write on him the name of my God and the name of the city of my God, the New Jerusalem, which comes down out of heaven, Uranus, from my God, and I will write on him my new name. So we have the sun here as well. So anyway, that's the Church of Philadelphia connected with this story, I think. And again, I think that the Church of Philadelphia is it's the faithful church, and it's the one that we should always ascribe to. We should always try and be like. So also, going back to Revelation 1, verse 9, I'll read that, and we'll keep Mercury in mind here. I, John, both your brother and companion in the tribulation and kingdom and patience in Jesus Christ, was on the island that is called Patmos, for the word of God and for the testimony of Jesus Christ. I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day, and I heard behind me a loud voice as of a trumpet. Well, there's your Taurus, your ram's horns. That's like a trumpet. So John, Mercury, if that's John on the island of Patmos, he's basically in the area of the trumpet. He's in the ram's horn, hearing the ram's horn. Okay, and then we read on, verse 11, saying, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, and what you see write in a book, and send it to the seven churches. Well, there you go. Pleiades, which are in Asia, to Ephesus, to Smyrna, to Pergamos, to Thyatira, to Sardis, to Philadelphia, and to Laodicea. And may I remind you that the second and the sixth church are the one that gets the crown, the 20 and the 6, the 2 and the 6, the 26. And we're looking at May 24th, 2026. But we keep on going here, and we read on, verse 12 and on. Then I turned to see the voice that spoke with me, and having turned, I saw 7 golden lampstands. Well, how about that? In the midst of the 7 lampstands, one like the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the feet, and girded about the chest with a golden band. His head and hair were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were like a flame of fire. Well, the sun is like a flame of fire. His feet were like a fine brass, as if refined in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. Here it is. And had in his right hand 7 stars. Well, if we're looking at Jesus from the back, and the sun is Jesus, in his right hand he would have the 7 stars. And out of his mouth went a two-edged sword, and get this, his countenance was like the sun, shining in its strength. So Revelation 1:16 is like really emphasized here. So again, I'm going to read Revelation 1:16 again. And he had in his right hand 7 stars, and out of his mouth went a sharp two-edged sword, and his countenance was like the sun, shining in its strength. And when I saw him, I fell at his feet as dead. But he laid his right hand on me, saying, "Do not be afraid, I am the first and the last." So I think what we're seeing right here is Revelation 1:16 pretty clearly. I don't know. I think this is pretty amazing that what looks to be the Son of Righteousness with healing in his wings, that one of those last verses in Malachi, it seems to be this picture right here. So we've got the sun, we've got the 7 stars in his right hand, we've got what looks to be John on the island of Patmos in Mercury, hearing that shofar, that trumpet sound, and we have Uranus underneath the feet of the sun, and that lines up with the Church of Philadelphia and Revelation 3 verse 12. And of course, this matches up 3 geographical points. It matches up with the island of Patmos, it matches up with the Taurus mountains in Asia Minor, and it matches up with the 7 churches in Asia Minor. That's pretty cool. That's pretty incredible. So, like I said, I wanted to share this with you. I wanted to wait till after Feast of Trumpets. So here it is. I think this is really neat. I think we see Revelation chapter 1. This picture seems to be that exact picture. And then, of course, in Revelation 4, verse 1, it says, "After these things I looked, and behold, a door standing open in heaven, and the first voice which I heard was like a trumpet," or in other words, a ram's horn, "speaking with me, saying, 'Come up here, and I will show you things which must take place after this.'" All right, let me know what you think of this picture. I think it's really neat. Okay, one day closer either way. I don't know when the rapture is, but I think this is really fun. Okay, go Jesus go, and hope to see you in the clouds soon. Bye.
Hallelujah, I'll see you in the rapture.